a semester for online education, which I can get from the Courses Plus for $3 a month.
Right. Well, we're talking about public schools or something, right? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, public schools, that's fine. I mean, poor Latino families send their kids to public schools. I'm talking about the elites. In fact, I'm talking about the wealthy elites who bribe officials with hundreds of thousands of dollars to get their stupid kid into their elite Ivy League university. So now these parents are thinking, remind me again why I spent $50,000 a semester plus $150,000 in bribes to get my kid into your prestigious university for distance learning. That's the actual argument.
Well, a bicyclist just died on our streets, and of course I have to look because it could be my son. A truck traveling against traffic early Sunday morning in the wrong side of the road, wrong way. He was killed by wrong. Of course, hit and run. Against traffic early Sunday morning. Fatally struck a man riding his bicycle on South First Street in San Jose, police said. Officers responded to a call around 4:30 a.m. in the area of South First and Reed Streets, that's over there by the old bike shop we used to go, and found the cyclist who was pronounced dead after attempts at resuscitation by paramedics failed. According to police, the cyclist was riding south on South First Street. So he was on First Street riding south, okay, when he was struck by a car, Chevrolet Silverado type truck traveling northbound in the southbound lane. Oh, he was on First Street in the wrong side.
Chevrolet Silverado is always Mexican.
Is that true?
Yep.
Okay, it was 4:30 a.m.
Yep.
Police are asking for the public to help locate the truck, which is described as being a black, dark, or blue, fairly new Chevrolet Silverado with a covered bed. Police say it will have front-end damage. The victim's identity was withheld following pending notification of family. Anyone with information is asked to contact. Yeah. So very awful. Condolences to family and friends. Yeah. Well, that's our streets. That's So
that's how we do shit.
Yeah. And he was drunk, right? He must be drunk.
Absolutely.
That he went on the wrong side of the
Probably got out of the bar at 2 a.m., completely smashed, went to his truck, fell asleep for 2 hours, got up and tried to drive home.
Something like that, yeah. And then of course a hit and run. Because he's illegally here or something like that.
Yep.
And then that's why we're most probably having a lot of hit and runs because of the illegal things. And
but don't kid yourself. There's just a lot of lawlessness. Okay.
Yeah, that's true. Right.
There's a lot of I'm not going to be held responsible for everything. And this comes back to something you were talking about earlier, which is freedom.
Right. And he mentioned the word freedom. And I said, oh, okay, there goes the freedom.
Freedom means I don't have to stop after I hit you driving drunk.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Right. Mm-hmm.
Why are we doing this?
Oh, I'm just talking and seeing what we're saying. We always talk about interesting things.
What?
We always talk about interesting things. So I thought I'd just turn it on.
Right.
And what were you thinking about? What have you been thinking about?
Well, I've been listening to Lex Friedman interview Max Tegmark.
Right.
Because I'm a science nerd.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They had an interesting conversation.
Uh-huh.
And I've heard this before, and I like the way it was analyzed.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name? Feynman, a great physicist,
mm-hmm.
and a real man of many trades. Feynman was being criticized by an artist. And the artist said,
"Can I eat with my hands, or do you want to eat with my fork?"
You can eat with your hands. Did you wash your hands?
Yeah, I did. I really washed them earlier.
I just asked the question.
I just want to make sure.
I'm peeling them with my hands.
Oh.
So eating with your hands is fine.
I do.
So a physicist, a very famous physicist, was being criticized by an artist. And the artist said, well, you science types, you miss out you don't appreciate the beauty of things. And I draw a flower, and you can't draw, and you would never draw a flower. You would dissect a flower. I draw flowers. I share beauty with the human race, and you dissect it.
Right.
And he gave an answer. I didn't quite hear the answer because did you see that birthday party going down the street honking their horns? Yeah. That was when
they're Mexican.
Yeah. So that was when they drowned out the actual discussion of the answer. But I actually knew the answer. And maybe I've even heard this before, and I simply am remembering it. But the answer is yes, it's true. You can draw a picture of a flower. But because I'm a scientist, I actually understand.
They want to do a 3-way call with you tomorrow. Oh, that's nice.
Who?
Marshall just sent me. It was nice.
Anyway, so they the physicist Feynman retorts, well, I can appreciate the beauty of the flower in other ways. I don't want to say that your drawing of the flower, your painting of the flower is not valid. It's a very beautiful flower, and you do it painted it in a very beautiful way. But because I'm a scientist, I can appreciate the flower's beauty at different levels. I can appreciate
by dissecting it, as well.
No, not even by dissecting it. I could. Okay, I'm a scientist. I can sit and look at a flower, appreciate it as a flower on a plant in multiple ways. For example, as a source of food for bees, and the beauty of how the bee and the flower have evolved together, and the beauty of that evolution, and how amazing nature is. And I can also appreciate that the flower as material, as matter, is made of air, and the air was assembled by the plant for its own purposes, of course. And let's not forget those purposes, which is reproduction. But just aside from that, I can't make a flower. Sure, I can paint a flower, but can the artist or I or anyone else make a flower? No. This is an amazing, breathtaking, beautiful thing that this plant can do. And this plant can do this without any help from us or us understanding it. And for me to appreciate the plant and try to understand how plants do this and how amazing that is me appreciating the flower and the plant and photosynthesis and evolution and all of it. And you appreciate the flower all the way down. All the way down. And then you can even appreciate yourself. I'm appreciating the flower. Well, what does it say about me that I understand beauty? Are there people that don't? Is it a gift to be able to understand beauty and to appreciate the beauty of a flower or a child or a sunset? That I have the senses, and I have and I have obviously the economic security that I can walk down the sidewalk, or I can sit in a park and I can appreciate the flowers. There's so much to appreciating a flower besides, oh, look at me, I can take a pastels and I can draw the flower and you can't. I enjoy the beauty of the flower and you don't. It's not like that.
Okay.
And I thought that was a cool part of the interview. I really liked listening to these guys. They're it's good to be reminded of why it's important to understand nature.
Right.
And I don't mean just I mean any dirty hippie, stoned on pot can appreciate nature.
Right.
But I have to tell you something.
What?
Appreciating nature didn't save it. Everybody, whoever goes into the forest, enjoys the forest and the trees and the smell and the coolness and the beautiful sunsets, then they go home and they drive their cars and they consume and they go to Disneyland and they don't do anything to save that thing. They were appreciating its exterior beauty.
Yeah, but I want to make some comment because you said the term dirty hippie, and that we really have demonized the hippie. Even the word hippie, it came out of the the demonizing of the nature loving, the organic, the farmer, the garden, the appreciating nature, and we demonized it and calling him a hippie. Even the term, but then even the dirty hippie is even the worst. And so I just wanted to say that, it's just
I don't consider that a pejorative. Maybe you do.
Dirty. I mean, you could look at it as
I
a
consider
dirty
myself a dirty hippie.
Because I could be I'm a dirty hippie because
I'm out in the garden all the time.
Look at my nails. I don't have nails. I have dirt under my nails.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. When I say dirty hippie, I mean their clothes are dirty, their hands are dirty, they've been out in the garden.
They're farmers.
They're composting.
Right.
They're managing animals.
Okay, good. I just want to say that. So it's a positive thing.
Now, if your sister-in-law,
But that, it's
with
become
her manicured nails, calls you a dirty hippie,
it's negative.
that's probably a negative thing.
Right.
I don't consider it negative at all.
Okay, good. Thank you.
She could be a little more that way herself.
Right. Exactly. And I was enjoying walking today because of the conversation Kat and I had earlier. We were watching this wonderful movie, YouTube video. What's the name of it? The one that about the history of the world?
The entire, nope. You want to hear it or not?
Yeah.
The entire history of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
It's not world history as in civilization. It's the entire history of the earth as a rock.
Right. And it was really great. That brought to my attention that it was such a good movie. I mean, history, the entire history of the earth, right? Is that it really got to where the plants have been everything to us, and even bringing us fossil fuels. And so, and it was talking about the black town. It was called the Black Town of England.
No, it was called
the Black. It was the Black Town, something like that.
Black
it was
Town.
Black. It was
because of the coal.
Yeah, of all the burning.
Not because of the Negro.
And
because of the coal.
right, and it was all the fossil fuels that they had in England.
Black country.
The Black country, and that they had in England this rock that had uplifted, and it was the coal. And they got to use it because it was exposed, and they found it, and they're very ingenious, like God said, the Germans. They're very industrious, and they figured things out. Very smart.
Give the devil his due.
Right, and so anyway, but getting back to the plants is that God said that they've only been here. That we had multicellular, single cellular organisms that started. The Earth started about, we'll just give context, 4.5 billion years ago. Then the first singular, like how did it we don't even know. We haven't even gotten to that explanation. How it out of nothing, no life created life. But it started with single cell organisms, single cell. Even in the ocean, there was no life, right? There was nothing, right, to begin with.
There was no life on land. All the life was in the sea.
Oh, it did. But how did it start in the sea? Do we know how it started in the seas?
Probably on the ocean bottom, where there were volcanic vents spewing minerals and heat into the salt water.
So that started much earlier, is life in the ocean. But so then when you were talking about life on land, life on land, we're talking about it started single cell organisms.
No, life in the ocean started single-celled organisms, bacteria to start with, not even bacteria,
in the
even older than bacteria.
Yeah.
And then multicellular life in the oceans, and then life emerged from the ocean onto the land as multicellular life.
Well, so starting in single cell, or maybe even single cell. Okay. Okay, Melon is multi-cell. So single cell started in the ocean.
In the water. Yeah.
Okay, and that started not at 4.5 billion. It started when? When did the single cells start?
A little over 2 billion years ago.
2 billion. So there was 2.5 billion years of just volcanoes and rocks and spewing and no life. And then single cell organisms start 2 billion years ago in our oceans. And then
they are the dominant and only life forms until about 500 million years ago.
When it came onto land?
No, when it became multicellular.
Oh, even in the ocean? 500 million years is so short in the blip of time.
Yep.
So for 2 billion, almost, well, whatever it is, for a really long time between, 4.5 billion it started, Earth, 2 billion, we have one single cell organisms in the ocean, and then not up until, what is the difference between 2 billion to 500 million? How many years is that? Would you say approximately 1.5?
Let's do it this year.
Billion?
Don't mention billions.
Okay.
We're doing the whole thing in millions.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
The Earth was formed out of the detritus of the cosmos 4,500 million years ago.
4,500. That's 4,500
million years ago.
4,500 million years ago.
Life began
4,500.
about 2,500 million years ago.
500 million years.
Multicellular life started about 500
Okay, so
years
it's
ago.
2,000 million years later, 2,000 million years later, that we even got multicellular,
Right.
which is 500 million years ago. But it's about, okay, so that was good. And to write it down so we remember it. But basically, yeah, so 500 million is when we first started in the ocean having multicellular organisms. And that's our plants, right? Those are the plants, is multicellular. All varieties of plants came when we had multicellular organisms. Yes. And then that was even before animals started.
Yes.
Even before the animals.
Animals came later.
Yeah. And what was there a transition from the plant life to the animal life? Really? Like a worm or something, or what was it? That's how we started animal life?
There were probably
after 500 million years.
There were it's called protozoans, single-celled animal life.
That started.
Don't have chloroplasts. Don't collect energy from the sun.
Okay, don't have chloroplasts. That means it's a plant if it has chloroplasts.
Yeah,
so it
but
doesn't have that.
Single-cell animal life.
Became
multicellular animal life. And there was multicellular animal life and multicellular plant life at some point.
Do you know when
they evolved together?
So do you say about 500 million years ago we had multicellular animal life too?
Yeah.
We did? Okay, that's the beginning. So they kind of came together, the two, the plants, when you say 2.5 billion years ago, where we started just singular cell plant life. We also had animal life, single cell animal. So they said
soon after.
They think they went together, the animal and plant life. That's amazing. That's amazing in itself.
Plants definitely came first. Animal life, since it feeds on plants, has to come later.
Okay.
By definition, you can't eat something that's not there.
Right. So we had a lot of plant life for a long time. But I wonder if they think that there was a transition between the plant life to the animal life. Was there an evolution that went that way?
No, there's no transition.
They're separate tracks?
Yeah. Animal life evolved when there was enough plants to eat. Now,
on its own, like sort of out of nothing.
No. Animal life evolved from plant life.
Oh, it did. That's what I'm saying. It did evolve.
Yeah. It was it's a special case of plant life. It's plant life without chlorophyll.
Okay. I see. So it did evolve from the plant life. That's what I was wondering. Because the big question is how life started at all. You know, from the rocks and the volcanoes and that. But that's another story. But is when there was the multicellular organisms in the ocean, always in the ocean. And then they adapted to go onto land much later.
Much later.
When would that be? When? Oh, your hands are so cold. Or is that just from working?
Handling the palm.
And then you wash your hands. Yeah.
There was complex multicellular life of both the plant and the animal varieties in the ocean. For example, there was fish. There's fish in the ocean before any animals came on land.
Right.
And the first animals to come on land probably were not even fish. They were probably things like crabs that came onto land and became what we would now call arthropods.
Insects.
Insects. Well, insects is also a particular type of animal, but centipedes, millipedes, scorpions, dragonflies, which are insects.
Was also the amphibians as they transitioned, right?
No, that was much, much later.
Oh, really?
They emerged from the ocean as where they were fish before they were amphibians.
Oh, really?
Insects were arthropods in the ocean, like crabs and shrimp. Right. They came ashore. Horseshoe crabs, but came ashore. Evolved for life on the land.
So we're talking about land. When do you think land life started? When does land life start?
I'd have to check, but let's say
approximately.
Let's say 400 million years ago.
400. So 500 million is the ocean life. 100 million years later,
land life.
Anyway, just as I was, so we're talking about 400 million years ago. You don't have a napkin. Oh, you have something good. So, is just a blink of an eye, to some degree. It's still a long time ago, but just looking as I was walking, just looking, like Kat said, just looking at the amazing amount of plants we have and how they're just so beautiful, what we have, and like you said, they created themselves, and how a miracle that is. And,
yeah.
And
the best we can do is try to understand them.
Yeah. And just how much evolution has happened. You can say relatively short that it's a miracle that these things have happened. And somebody gave us, they liked us. But then it's interesting how you can see that there's somebody there. They even gave us a little heads up, but we don't know who they are. Anyway. Hello.
Doesn't matter.
Anyway. So just the nature and, basically, how, and then Kat said too, when we were walking, is that sustainability, when we say we're going to plant trees, what was it, 3,000 trees in Santa Clara County. Santa Clara County was saying with their sustainability was 3,000 trees. And what Kat said no to that, in that
no, I didn't say
no. He said
it's fine.
It's got to be modified.
But it shouldn't be part of your sustainability plan.
Okay.
You don't get credit for that because if you plant, say, 3,000 street trees,
right,
you're not creating habitat. You're not creating food.
You are a little bit, but not enough.
I wouldn't call it habitat.
For one tree, not
one tree. No. Now, if you went on the record, you wanted to plant 3 forests of 1,000 trees apiece. That's better, okay? Just committing to plant 3,000 random trees in random places isn't even on the glide path of doing very important good things. Whereas 3 forests of 1,000 trees apiece, which might be 10 acres, right?
Right.
That would be huge. That would be monumental. That would be turning back the ravages of progress, right? That would actually be something. But 3,000 trees is, it's okay, but it doesn't amount to anything. It's just a thing you can do. Like you might personally say, I'm going to walk 10,000 steps today. That's my step goal. All right, that's a thing you can do. You walk 10,000 steps, it's fine. I'm going to plant 3,000 trees. That's okay. You can do that. It's a goal. Not bad, planting 3,000 trees. Go right ahead.
Yeah, but
don't expect me as a scientist, as a biologist, to jump up and applaud, because planting 3,000 random trees in random places doesn't amount to much.
Oh, and what he said.
It's aspirational.
Well, what you said
do it, but don't expect to get a celebration from me. I'm not impressed.
And what you said is that everything needs to be dealing with our food, clothing, and shelter. So that's what he said, is that we need to be, everything we develop needs to be taking land for trees, that, taking parking lots and turning them into orchards. That's but then to just put a tree on the side of the street where the cars go down and it's like, oh, everything's solved now.
Yeah, and that's really the key difference is if I say, okay, I'm impressed if you plant 3 parks or forests with 1,000 trees apiece. Now, that actually implies something that planting a tree in your parking strip doesn't. That implies that you're going to find for each of those little forests, those little pocket forests, you're going to find 10 acres or so. Maybe not 10 acres, maybe 5 acres. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that means you're probably going to take a parking lot, right? You're going to take a parking lot, or you're going to take an industrial park. It doesn't matter where it is. It can be in the worst part of town. It wouldn't even matter if it was in the worst part of town. But you're going to take it.
Land.
And you're going to clear it. And then you're going to bring in heavy equipment to turn the land and put the toxins back into the dirt and bring the fresh dirt up. Then you're going to bring in irrigation. You're going to do a lot of stuff to plant 1,000 trees and to make a pocket forest, right? So that's actually the goal. The goal is not, I'm going to plant 3,000 trees, and they're going to be random trees in random places, and I'm going to get credit. I'm going to go to heaven as a good person.
Right.
That's not the goal for you to go to heaven as a good person. Now, if you want to do something good that actually helps us, all of us, including our other fellow earthlings, right? Squirrels,
birds,
ravens,
insects,
all of it, okay? Anything you want to name.
Butterflies.
Foxes, raccoons. If you want to help, then don't just plant 3,000 trees in random places and dust your hands off. Well, we're all going to heaven now. No, find an industrial park that's really not be properly utilized or has been designated for redevelopment or something. Clear it, pull up the asphalt, pull up the concrete, pull up the foundations, pull up the plumbing that was under the ground, pull everything up, till it, compost it, bring it back to life, and plant your forest there. Right, that's what you should do, and that's impressive.
Right, and what
we need to be doing everywhere, all the time, every place.
And putting our mouth. What's the expression? Putting our money where our mouth is. Oh, that's the expression. Putting our money where our mouth is. So therefore, we're not developing hotels because we don't. That's not sustainable, and we're taking the land that is undeveloped because it's ready to go because it has nothing on it, just a parking lot, and turning it into an orchard. Or turning it into food production. That everything.
Yeah,
everything has to
I really think at this point, we do have to choose whether you want to plant a natural forest for the purpose of having nature and habitat. That's good, or food. Mm-hmm. So that means we deliberately exclude planting a garden for, say, flowers.
There was this,
you have that in your yard. You can have a garden for flowers in your yard. That's fine. You shouldn't have that. You should be growing food, or you should be growing plants that are specifically intended to support native animals. Okay, butterfly plants. The milk thistles, plants for hummingbirds, things like that. So maybe those are your choices: food, actual nature, right?
We're supporting the food, supporting that's where Allery says you do need your native garden in your hedgerows or something around your food production to create habitat for your, what do they call, pollinators, right? So we're not pollinating our own food.
Well, that's called habitat diversity. Okay.
Right. So you do need that, right?
Now you can emulate habitat diversity in your garden. So you can have tomatoes, squashes.
Right, you can have those flowers be the flowers,
and you can deliberately plant some. You can deliberately plant some
marigolds,
plants for hummingbirds, right, or butterflies. Right. You can deliberately plant those,
and
and honeybees, right? Well, but see, even your rosemary or your lavender,
right?
The honeybees swarm that stuff. So you can plant a lot of things that you could still use. I mean, what do we use rosemary for? We use it for cooking. You use lavender to put in your bath and make your bath a lavender water.
Oh,
there's lots of things you can do with lavender. If you're not too sure, look it up. Right? Mm-hmm. People made lavender soaps from the lavender oil. How do you get lavender oil? Well, it's a kitchen chemistry. Look it up. So you can, if you know that there are plants that are not just food but maybe medicine or kitchen chemistry like lavender oil, other things like that.
Aromatherapy
doesn't matter, right? If it's useful,
right?
But those can also be really useful to, say, honeybees. Honeybees love lavender; they swarm the flowers. Right. They love the rosemary. Same thing, swarm the flowers.
Right.
So they don't all have to be roses that you're going to pick and bring in the house. Right. Although you can have some of that.
Yeah.
You can have these other plants that have uses that you don't think about, and they're still beautiful. You can still look at them, have a beautiful flower garden,
right,
and have it also be food.
Right, exactly. It is. It's very true.
A lot of it's food.
It's beautiful, like the flowers of your peas, your legumes, and And so, I think that concept of putting your money where your mouth is what we're really looking at. Is we have to make the radical changes. It's not just planting trees in our little space that we create. What do we call a parking strip? We call it parking strips.
It's that little 3-foot piece of whatever ground between the curb
and where you park your car
down the street, the curb, and the sidewalk, right?
Right.
It's called a parking strip.
We have to envision a new way. We have to be dreaming together of a world that we want to do. That's what Pope Francis says. When we're so isolated, we have mirages and fears, but when together we can dream. And I think we should let, this is a renaissance. This could be a renaissance of how we're going to change things. And I love how Kat says, Well, he'll know things have changed when he doesn't see any cars going down Stockton Avenue. And that's true. And so I envision it and try to make it so, because that's like my Jewish part of myself is that make the world a better place. So I even propose that to the city and to Google that we make Stockton Avenue that it should be a walk. That we don't need cars on Stockton Avenue. We should just Stockton Avenue should be a walkable street. Wouldn't it be nice? I mean, it's such a little nothing of a street. It should become no cars and no trucks. I think that'd be great. So you could say, oh, your fantasy, but why not? Why not make it the way? And of course, across the street at the bus depot, I want to grow an orchard, and grow food there. And these are things that are needing to change because we don't need buses and like I say, you can't eat diesel and you can't drink diesel and you can't eat what was it? What else? You can't eat anyway. Just
Can't eat hotels.
can't eat hotels, right? You can't eat hotels. Can't eat diesel. Can't drink diesel. So we have to get back to basics. And Kat says that. Where are you taking that, honey? Oh, the compost. Why is he putting him in the? Why does he put that in the garbage? Why does he do that? That was wrong. I noticed he do that. Why does he do that? Mm. Mm. We compost everything. I'm not sure why he puts them in the garbage. He doesn't want to take out the big compost can that is full. I have a 5-gallon can that I fill. Kat, you didn't want to compost it?
It's too much.
No, it's not too much.
In my opinion, it's too much.
No, it's not.
When I'm managing, I do it my way.
All right, I'll have to take it out of there and put it in my compost.
Well, that kind of stuff would fill one of your little compost cans.
No, oh yeah, what you do is you take out the 5-gallon can. You can take it out there, but that's full too. So I have to bring it out to the big compost can.
Anyway, I just put it in the garbage.
All right,
It's too much
fine.
citrus for the compost.
Never too much. Anyway, it breaks down. Anyway, that's how are you, Barbara? It's good to see you. And maybe you're there, maybe you're not. Anyway, what's next? Do you want that? Are you ready to eat something, or you're done
Let me
eating?
say something.
All right, fine.
Where were you when I was eating?
I was here.
Oh, that's right, you were.
Yeah, that was so good. Those were the two. That's what we ate. Was two of those, right? Those were two pomelos. So good.
I think what I'm gonna do is go lay down for a minute.
All right, good. And I guess what am I gonna do? I could plant my garlic and make salad. With my salad. All right, I guess we're saying goodbye. Have a good day. Right.
Your camera's dirty.
Oh, my camera?
It's all blurry.
I'm not sure. Or maybe did I touch? I don't know. Maybe I touched something. Something I would like to do too. Hey Google, is tomorrow February 1st?
Here are some results from the web.
Hey Google, what is tomorrow?
It is Monday, February 1st, 2021.
Okay, I'm saying goodbye.